Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
I'm Nerdarchist Ryan.
I'm Nathan Nerdarch.
And we are bringing you another GM 911 from Sieran, about Warlocks and Lust Demons.
And Lust Demons. Oh my!
Oh my.
Yeah. So before that, though, you can make a pact with the Nerdarchy, the newsletter. You can sign up for it down in the description below. Basically, we'll give you some sweet tips for GMing or player tips. You can also learn how to game with Nerdarchy and form a pact in that way.
So it's an interesting idea, but what he wants to know is how should this work for that player? What should that patron and that pact entail?
Right, and also too, what Sieran's most ardently trying to avoid is doing the most obvious of like the sex and sexuality and like impregnating everything from kingdoms over.
Yeah, I feel like that's the lowest common denominator for.
It's the most obvious reach for
Lust Demon. Yeah. Well, Lust in general is like a whole. I feel like they're more like Sensates from the Planescape.
So you want to check that out. So from Planescape, there was a faction called Sensates that they were all about having the most new and novel and outlandish experiences possible.
Yeah, they wanted to experience life as much as they possibly could, and different sensations from that, which is what Sensate comes.
So I kind of have an idea. What if it's a Lust Demon, but it's not a Lust Demon because this demon is about sex per se, but it's about granting the desires of others in order to get what it wants. It's a seductress, a seducer. So, but
an uber people pleaser type of.
Yeah, but in this case, perhaps the demon uses sex as a weapon or the sensation, and almost in these warlock packs it creates this craving for its presence, a sensation. It could be sex. So maybe it isn't so much that the player's character is having sex with other people, but
with the demon.
With the demon, like it's like they're always doing stuff to please the demon in hopes that
they'll be rewarded with some intimacy with the demon.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it isn't so much about spreading the ideal of seducing, seduction, or even lust through the warlock, but whatever that demon's goals are, it's just a weapon that the demon has in its arsenal and likes to rely on.
So it uses it as a weapon against the warlock,
the warlocks,
and then the warlocks. And then would you say that the warlock's personality is affected in such a way that it wants
like
more
addiction?
It's like an addiction.
And it could also want more robustness in everything, like that. It spreads out to, well, I want to eat food that tastes fantastic because I want to have that kind of like spike in experience.
It could be, but it doesn't have to be. And like it could also cause other problems and complications in the warlock's life. Like, are they married or are they in a committed relationship? Will your parents disapprove of you
demon relations?
That being in a relationship.
Interspecies with demon relationships.
How will your church and the congregation feel about this?
And you could spawn tiefling babies. So that would be interesting.
That could be one of the reasons she does it.
Oh, and I really like the idea of eventually introducing like rival warlocks that are also pacted to her. That she enjoys like watching them go at it. They try to like seek to destroy each other. So it's like rival suitors.
A little spy versus spy. Or Contest of Champions.
Highlander, Highlander too. Yeah.
Now that could come up in play as another warlock comes in,
and you just kind of know,
and it's just like there's something on about him, and he's kind of like really not nice to you, or maybe he even has hired mercenaries to kill you. Yeah. So he's almost like a mini villain, but he's specifically because he's in a pact with your same patron.
There was like a movie going way back with Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. And I Cruel Intentions, maybe? I can't quite remember, but like she would, she and her stepbrother would basically use sex as a weapon against other people and seducing people to do the things that they wanted them to do. Yeah, it's kind of the same concept. And they would even make bets with each other over stuff. And that's the whole premise. So, it could also involve, seduction with the character. Because, lust doesn't actually have to be sex. It could actually just be the act of seduction. It could be, you could be fulfilling someone with the relationship that they crave or want. And to the point where they're willing to do whatever. Depending on how depraved the demon is and what they really want, it could be things like breaking up marriages, like you had said off camera, or getting involved with people of strong influences. Again, like maybe it may cause you to use that as a weapon, which it could or could not be sex.
An interesting play too with lust is your character could become like a religious zealot, even something that's not really innately in line with what the demon's views are, but the demon's like planting you to basically become like the dark seed, the dark horse in that religion. So you're the one that takes it to the most extreme, like the sparrows in Game of Thrones. Like imagine
super militant.
Yeah. Imagine that like your character's the catalyst to make these like horrendous things happen, these inquisitions or whatever. So like like you're doing like the most zealot like fervent worship of the deity, but it's kind of above and beyond what the deity would actually want, because you're actually being influenced by the demon to infiltrate these things and do these works. It's almost like this the Church of the Silver Flame with the corrupt influence, and they had the Inquisition of the shifters, the lycanthropes. So kind of doing something like that. So that could be a fun tangent as well.
Yeah, and it shows how the patron's relationship with the warlock is affecting. She's not telling him go do this stuff, but it's more like influential.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, did you ever think of doing this? Or, or like taking a tenant that he talks about, and she just bends it towards a little bit of a direction.
A darker purpose.
Yeah, it takes him off on this dark
like
purpose.
So like hard in this one direction. Like, like maybe the warlock gets like visions of like going to seek out this church, or maybe they just have a chance encounter, but they just feel like that feels right. So they're getting pushed into the direction of this church. Like, maybe they, almost this like comforting like salvation of the soul sort of sensation that just gets further and further stroked and goes in that direction. So, and I also do like the consort of the demon, like that's kind of cool too.
So there's definitely a lot of different ways you can go with it, also depending on what the character's background is and what kind of social obligations and contracts they have around them in their life. Because you could definitely use that warlock patron to start putting strain on those, and have that addiction come up as a problem. Or like you said, or if they're heavily involved with a church or a congregation, exploiting certain things. Like, I almost want to take a look and see like some of the historical things in more recent times that have happened with the Catholic Church and priests, and you could even like go along down that road as well. I don't want to offend people that are Catholic or
You had
whatever.
to bring up the Catholic Church now.
Well, it's actually happened. It's news. So like. What if...
Or I mean, even like Daesh or ISIL being like the most extreme version of Islam. Like, so there's moderate versions of that, but you take it to the most extreme sort of instance.
Where they take, a certain path or denomination within the religion and they start influencing them to think that that's okay and it's all right, to the point where they're even above the law. In the
vigilante style for
not vigilante style. In essence, they're entitled to certain things because because they are basically divine conduits for their god.
Okay. I was thinking about, they see a crime that isn't really a crime in the land, but it's a crime as far as
against religion. Well, that's
this particular bend of whatever this lust demon has taken the person on.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's the thing of the sparrows, like things that the the gold cloaks wouldn't have persecuted, the sparrows would. And like, so that's the thing where like they start like beating people with chains because they become this.
Well, it's almost like there's these rules, the rules and laws in the religion, and then rules and laws
of the kingdom,
and they've decided to put theirs above everyone else's. So you could definitely use use that influence to try to like expand upon that stuff. Basically, maybe the demon uses the warlock to get into the ear of someone of influence and start like bringing out these negative traits. And like the key to that might be, well, if you can't do what I want, as the warlock patron, then then I can't give you what you want or what you need. I can't help you.
Right. Yeah.
It should be kind of subtle.
I was sorry to break up the thing. I was thinking about going back to the Sensate concept that I really enjoy the most with this, because it's not so like down the line. What if the lust demon that's their flaw, not what they like to do and like what they like to do within the world, and maybe you're in a different plane of existence. So one of the best things the lust demon likes to be is experience the world, but they can't. They're in some place. It's basically a prison they're in, technically. If they want to be in the material plane,
they experience it through their pacts.
Yeah, they're in prison, so they make pacts with people that augment that person's personality to go out and experience things with like that vigor and lust for life kind of feeling to it. And so I mean, you can get away from, especially because they're saying about like, you know, not just making it about having sex and stuff. That whole experience, like the Sensate.
The foreign foods, or like, you know, like you really want to check out gladiatorial, you know, like there's a gladiatorial event, like that seems like really interesting to you.
Why not take part in a gladiatorial event, get cut up and maybe defeat somebody?
Yeah, or like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, like there could be, I don't know, like there could be an orgy or like animal fights, or you know, like maybe there's this famous chef that like you'll do anything to go and like sample the wares of the chef that's coming through.
Or if you don't have the money or the means, you'll steal that expensive bottle of wine instead of trying to actually make the money to pay for it.
Yeah. Or kidnap the chef.
Kidnap the chef. Be like, guess what? You and me are going to be very good friends.
Forever. Yeah.
Just tell me what you need. So I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, like without like writing it down and knowing all the ins and outs, like it would be hard to come up with exactly.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways to go about taking care of your GM number one problem. You'll find a ton more in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on nerdarchy.com.
And while you're at nerdarchy.com, you can check out Nerdarchy, the store.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.